Okay. We're going to look at the Python language and creating our own functions. So in order to create our own functions, we have to define them essentially. And they use the three letters DEF. And you'll notice it actually changes colors here in Replit. So DEF, and then we give our function a name. Define function. Not a wonderful name, okay? When defining the function, when I go to the next line, whoops, you know what I forgot to do? I also need to put just an opening and closing set of brackets and then a colon, okay? And what that's telling the program is I have a function, I'm gonna define it. Its name happens to be function. In fact, maybe let's just give it name. We'll call the name of the function name here. And when I go to the next line, I actually have to do an indent, okay? And what that tells the program is anything indented is part of the above function called name here, okay? So what I want to do is I actually want my function to interact with the user. So I'm going to set up a string. It's going to print a string. So I put it in quotations here so that I have a string. What is your name? Okay, question mark. Okay. On the next line, okay, I'm still indented. I want it to return the input. Okay. So we're going to return the input, whoops, for that function. And what we're going to do is once we return the input, so in other words, what we're asking the computer to do is whatever the individual does here, we want them to put some information in for us, and then we're going to keep that information, okay? So we're going to go and run our function very quickly here. Sorry, wasn't clicking there. And I need to put a set of brackets around there. So when I hit run, nothing happens. And the reason nothing's happened yet is because all I've done to the program is actually defined it. So the program has read this. It says, okay, I'm going to build a function called name. And when you say call function name, I'm going to print out what is your name, and then I'm going to add, and the user is going to input some information. But I haven't actually told the program to run this yet. Okay, so in fact, I can say name. So in other words, I've defined the function, and now I want you to run that function called name. So when I click it, it now runs the function. So line 5, after we're no longer indented, so we've finished our definition, you'll even notice by this drop-down arrow, I can hide the definition part, and it jumps us right to line 5 there. Let's bring it back up. It's running it. So what is your name? Mike. Great. And all it's done is I've now told the program my name is Mike. More importantly, I've defined my function. So I can put any set of algorithms within it, and then that way, instead of typing out every single time I want it to ask your name, instead of having to put in print what's your name, I just say run the name function. Okay, so we're building our own function in this case. Okay, and in this function, we actually got an input from it. The user inputs some information, and that function now has that information. In fact, I can have this program, I'll call it person's name. Okay, I've assigned a variable called person's name. So the function won't run any differently when I hit run. It'll still say, what's your name? Hey, my name's Mike. Nothing's happened other than this variable now has that information stored, my name. So I'm now going to tell the program, hey, do me a favor, print person's name, okay, which is going to be a string, plus the words hello, okay? So in other words, what I'm asking the program to do is say hello plus person's name. Now, what's actually going to happen is not going to be space. So I'm going to put a little space in our string here just so it's a little more legible when the program runs it. But what's going to happen is I say run to the program. It defines the function named name. It runs that function, and then whatever the input is from the user, it assigns it to the variable, which we've called person's name. And then the program is going to say hello, person's name. So let's run it. What's your name? Bob. Hello, Bob. So there we go. So we've created our function, which is our definition at the first 3 lines. And then the actual program doesn't start running till line 5, where it runs our function, assigns the input to a variable, and then we've decided to say hello and use that input. Okay, so there's a way of defining our own functions.